So last time I was here, we saw the fall of Reach, specifically while Master Chief wore a t-shirt. So yeah, and then we have this week's episode. Let's get into all this. What's up, my know-it-alls? I am so excited to be back. It has been a crazy couple of weeks. So since the last time you saw us here, I got COVID, and it's funny because throughout the entire pandemic, it never caught me, and 2 vaccines, a booster, still never caught me until finally it did. And so, yeah, the worst part, I actually felt really good. It wasn't even an issue of feeling bad. It was a matter of my voice was gone. So this is the first time that I've been able to actually kind of muster up together enough voice to be able to do anything. And we're 2 weeks into Halo now. So that's, I want to talk a little bit about some of the two episodes. The last week's episode was Reach. And then now we have this week's episode. And so Reach is essentially the story universe version of the Fall of Reach, which those of you who are familiar with the games, you had a certain level of expectation. This clearly probably didn't meet it, even though it was a very exciting episode. So, like I've said on a lot of other occasions, you kind of have to take the entire scenario when it comes to Reach and kind of what's been going on, and you have to take it at its own pace. Now, they're clearly trying to do something. They're trying to tell some kind of story. If you can get past, this isn't the Halo video game I played, well, of course it's not. I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to play verbatim a scenario that I had already seen or experienced numerous times already. I want an adaptation, and that's kind of what this has been to this point. They're calling it the Silver Timeline, whatever that means. I feel like when we get into the episode of Reach, the fact that everybody from Oni stole the suits, they made a big deal out of that.
We were just going to get suited up.
The armor's gone, Chief.
What did you say?
Command bugged out. They took high-ranking personnel.
Took our suits.
Also, Kai has disappeared. The assumption being she's with Oni. Find out this week that's actually true. So there's a lot of things happening in the story, and ultimately, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, there were interviews with Pablo Schreiber where he was saying that, I don't know how in the world you can really establish a character in an actor's look without being able to see their face. And I'm like, bro,
This is the way.
right? All that being said, I feel like they're definitely trying to do something. And whether or not we understand what that something is leaves much to be desired, and we'll eventually find out overall what the something is or isn't. Honestly, it was a really good episode. Vanek buys the farm in that episode. We get to see the Arbiter, who is he's pretty awesome. And right as he's about to face the demon, which I'm like, how do you face the demon when he's not even in his full form and not even not his suit or anything like that? You're literally facing a dude. And finally though, I was waiting so long for this. Chief picks up a weapon. One of the coolest parts of the game that I ever saw when my son used to play was the fact that no matter what weapon was lying around, you could pick it up and go. And I half expected that from Master Chief in this and Reach, the episode last week, when he finally picks up the energy sword thing, and then the Arbiter shows up, and they're gonna fight, and then Joe Blow decides to jump in the way and shoot back, and then what's the Arbiter do? Done. He's like, look, man, this is my kill. And it's incredible. So then we move to this week, and they found Halsey and whatnot. We also got Soren. And so there was a whole bunch of kind of pieces, and the whole thing ends with them basically being cornered in this hallway, overseeing the entirety of Reach. And you see those giant energy beams the Covenant has just ripping into the planet, fires it's bad. And of course, Jerkoff decided to leave with Oni and all them because he knew. They do a lot of interesting backstory work that I enjoyed in Reach, even if we didn't get, we may not have gotten Master Chief in the suit, but you get Master Chief being Chief, and you get him the minute they have weapons available everybody gets into form. And he's immediately like, on my six, blah, blah, blah. This is not, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. He's giving orders quickly. And yeah, he does a very good job. At least I thought it was a really good job. If you're coming at it like you're wanting to watch the video game, you're missing the point of an adaptation. We're getting a story. And while it's not the story that they originally created for Halo, it's a story that I'm finding fascinating nonetheless. And I feel like if you take it at its face value and meet it where it's at, you may get more enjoyment out of it than you think. So then we move forward to this week. This week picks up almost basically right where it left off. And you get a couple of interesting callbacks to some things. One, you get to see the Arbiter and Maquis, who kind of go head to head for a bit. And she basically tells him she's got this thing, which is human knowledge. And it's Cortana. Obviously, Cortana still looking different than Cortana from last season, but whatever. I almost feel like it's a nod to the games, how every iteration of the games, she looks different. I half expect her in season 3 to look even more different. But either way, and dude, the Arbiter's not even hearing it. He's just like, yeah, whatever. I'm going to leave you because the hierarchs have decided that it's what we're supposed to do and that what nonsense. Then you get back to the team and they're still in the same spot. And then you see Soren's wife shows up in the ship she took back, and she's sitting there and she's blowing them away through the thing, and she's fighting them because a giant, one of those big dudes shows up, the elites or whatever, and Chief is in rough shape. Like he's not himself this whole thing. Oh, by the way, this entire episode is essentially, I hate to say filler, because even though it feels like filler, but it's actually giving a story arc and plot and character development. I have this sneaking suspicion that by the end of all of this, whether it's this season or whatever, he's going to become the Chief we know. He's gonna stay in the suit as a form of isolation, whether it's because Cortana is located there or whatever. But I feel like he's evolving. And it's not just evolving because he took out the emotion chip or whatever, the little thing that was giving him all that stuff. I think it's much more to the character. At least that's the benefit of the doubt I want to give the series. Because the series is still doing a wonderful job itself of being what it is. Especially if you're not judging it according to the other stuff. So I would love to hear your comments and thoughts and see what you thought. Now, obviously, I've skipped a few details. The whole idea, the whole Chief there at the burial of Vanek. The Soren and his wife trying to track down Kessler for what that's their kid. More of that storyline I don't care about. Finally, now Kwan Ha has come back into the main storyline, and she kind of helps Chief understand that he can't just shut off. And then also Riz decides to leave. And so there's an awful lot of things that have happened in terms of trying to make the series evolve into being more. Chief has a mission. His mission he wants to go find Perengoski and what's his face, the guy who runs Oni now. He wants to go find them. And the truth is, like, dude, get it together. And then we have this moment at the very, very, very end. And at the very, very, very end, you get this moment where Kai walks up to a doorway, and then you see she looks over, dude's like, they open the door, and I half expected to hear the Clone Wars, or at least hear Yoda.
Begun the Clone War as.
Because you see this massive UNSC army, and I'm just like, where was this army at the fall of Reach? Like, seriously. So, and I don't know if they're trying to say that Kai is the new Chief, or at least to them, or what's going on, but they're sort of building her story now around all of that. So we'd love to hear your thoughts on that whole idea and what's coming. I know that I'm ready to see Chief back in the suit. I'm ready to see Chief being Chief and kicking butt and taking names. I'm ready to see the storyline progress. The problem is we've paused for all this character development, which sounds like a really crappy thing to say. All this character development is just getting in the way. Can we please just stop? Okay, the truth is I'm down. I'm totally down. I love the character development stuff. I think it's exciting, but at the same time, I'm kind of ready to see the Halo show start haloing. So the closest thing they've gotten is Maquis has now, because apparently the Arbiter was about to turn her over, and so Maquis is now convinced, with the help of Cortana, to the Arbiter that it's his destiny to go find the Halo, and so they've left. They've now gone rogue. And so there's the where all that fits together. We'll see. I'm down for seeing it next week. But there you go. Now you know. Knowing's half the battle. You're halfway to being a know-it-all yourself. What's an all index for this episode for me? I'm going to go ahead and give. So I'm going to give Reach. Reach itself gets a 9 from me. Despite him not being in the suit, it did a wonderful job of moving the story forward, of having events actually, they paid off everything that they have laid out thus far. And I liked and appreciated that. So that's going to get an 8. That's going to get a 9 for me. Now, for this week's episode, I'm going to lean closer to a 7.5. I'm going to give it a 7.5. It wasn't so much that it's slow, because it absolutely is slow, but we got interesting character beats. And I feel like we got enough character beats that told me sort of where I see this thing is supposed to be going. So comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the whole thing. What did you think of the episode? Did it do something for you? Did you enjoy it? Did you not care whatsoever? Also, thank you so much, guys, for being patient with me. We are finally going to be bringing back the Know It All files, as well as some other stuff. We're supposed to be, hopefully, Mrs. Know It All and I will get to do a live show very soon. I've enjoyed doing those. There's a lot of stories happening. Of course, the Oscars are coming up. So yeah, keep all of that right there under your hat, and we will talk again very soon. I cannot wait. Till next time, never forget, everyone loves a know-it-all.